Today is Wednesday, March the 11th. So I'm still working remotely. I'll be back home tomorrow and I'll be working off Motive Wave, which will be welcome. Let's just take a look and update the FinViz. And we can look at the volume exceedingly high, something we've come to expect. The decliners led advancers by 9-1, and overall the chart was pretty red. I mean, there were very, very few companies in the green. The stock market breadth, this is the one that we've been looking at really carefully. And we've been looking at this series of higher lows. So I said last night that today would be important, that we didn't drop below the previous low, and we didn't. Tomorrow is equally important, and the day after, to make sure that we don't lose the previous low. So we continue to show some kind of sign where the bulls are having some sort of an impact on reducing some of the losses we see in the market. Now we've gone from where the bears were in charge, and I can't show you on the screen here, but you can see right there in the center of the screen, we have a series of lower highs that showed that from the time period of basically the beginning of the year until early February, we showed where the bulls are in charge, constantly bringing the McClellan oscillator down and never letting it make new highs. Then we fell off the cliff, and now we've had a series of higher lows. We will continue to experience volatility. Now the president is going to be on TV in a few minutes. It's, in my opinion, it's unlikely he'll do anything to make the matters any better. Any bounce that we're going to see is simply traders that are trying to scalp an opportunity. There's a lot more bad news ahead, but what we'd like to see is the bulls still trying to keep the stock market afloat. Now we're into a bear market. We're down 20% from our highs. So that could have signaled the end of the bull market that we've been in since 2008. It might not. Let's keep an eye on the McClellan oscillator. Let's go now look at some of our stocks, and we're just going to look at a very few. We're going to look at the S&P, and we're looking at the S&P on a weekly basis. And look at that. We got support right on the bottom of the cloud. Now the Chiku span, I can't draw a line from the bottom of that wick over to the top of the cloud 26 weeks behind, but it looks to me like the cloud was support for the Chiku span, and we want to watch for that in the next coming days. There's a very thin area of support here for the Chiku span with the cloud, and I've zoomed in on it a bit. Now if we fall through that, then certainly we're going to experience some new lows, and we could be getting down below the 2400 previous low that we saw in 2019 before this run-up. So Apple, although Apple was down $10 today, on a weekly basis, we're still not any lower than we were at the lowest point 2 weeks ago. Now we've closed exactly where we closed at the closing on Friday of 2 weeks ago, is where we closed today. So Apple could be much worse. Look at the volume, very high. Caterpillar, and we're only going to look at one more. Caterpillar really is suffering. If you look at the weekly chart here, I mean, it's not like Apple, it's not like the SPX. It's well below the previous weeks. And if we look for areas of support, $100, if we draw a line across $100, that does appear that it's got a support area because it was resistance back in 2017. Can you imagine? Caterpillar is now trading back where it was in 2017. So keep a very close eye on $100. Where does Caterpillar go below $100? It looks like $80, right in here. Let me put it in the center of the screen. Looks like $80 could be support. That's not out of the question. The last stock we'll look at tonight is Whirlpool. And Whirlpool is looking like Caterpillar, pretty sick. That's a consumer stock. People will not be buying new appliances. With the coronavirus, people will not be buying new homes. New home builders will not be buying new white appliances. So the forecast for Whirlpool, really, if we look at it on a weekly basis, we could be looking at this point right here in the center of the screen, which is down around $100, which is where we were in the middle of 2018. So in summary, where are we going? We're looking at the McClellan oscillator to try to keep us above where we finished on Friday. And I guess that's the key thing. Let's just take one last look at the S&P. Sorry about that. Let's take one last look at the S&P. And the bottom of the cloud is going to seriously be support here. But there's 2 points we got to look at. The bottom of the cloud is around 2670, something like that. And the Chiku span at the top of the cloud. So take your weekly charts and look at those two levels. And once we fall below there, then for sure we are heading to 2400.